Time to keep the Mariner conversation going. Bill Kreuger joins us now. Bill, it has been another wild week with the Mariners. Let's begin with the freshest news. The man we're talking about, J.P. Crawford. Your thoughts, Bill, on what he had to say post-game, and do you think he should play at third base and Colt at short?
Well, first of all, very professional, very mature, very team-orientated. I've always liked JP. I thought he's been a clutch performer for the team and always played hard, always thought team first. And this is just another great example of the quality of the character. I also think he sees the writing on the wall. And Colt Emerson is the future at shortstop. He wants to start taking some reps at third base so that Dan Wilson can trust him to go over there if indeed the club decides that's what they want to do. Emerson impressed in spring training on defense. They think he's a plus defender. I mean, the bat's still to be determined, I think. And Crawford's a clutch hitter, gets on base a lot. He's a valuable addition to the team. He can still play short, in my opinion. He may not be the Gold Glove elite guy he once was. So this is still to be sorted out. JP is looking ahead. Yes, would he like to stay here? Sure. Can he be the everyday third baseman? It's possible. Is he the best solution at third if Emerson's at short? Yes, because he's a better defender than Brendan Donovan. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to take place once Donovan comes back. There's some musical chairs that's going to take place. Some people are going to get moved around. And when the music stops, a pretty good bat may not be on the team anymore. And that's a little concerning when you think about a guy like Dominic Canzone. If he ends up without a chair, he's been a pretty good player and a pretty good hitter for this team. And he may be forced out.
Yeah, he hit well yesterday, too, so it's definitely showing that they probably need the bat of Dominic Canzone if there is a position for him. But meanwhile, Matt Brash, he's back. He looked great yesterday. Gabe Speier didn't look great yesterday, but he's at least getting closer. How much will this help out the team?
It's integral. Everybody plays to the last 3 innings. It's all about the leverage guys at the end of the game. The starter's there just to set the table. You get the lead and you close the door with, those guys. Brash, Speier, obviously Munoz, and now Ferreras, who's been excellent with getting more reps behind Gabe Speier. So now you have the dual left-handers. You got the best setup guy in the game in Matt Brash. Bizzardo can get to a place where he can pitch even and maybe give you an inning plus, the type of guy he was in last year when he was so elite, and then just really set the table for Munoz. And then the club can really take off to be the club that I think we believe they can be, because they're 7-12 in one-run games. This club cannot be 7-12 in one-run games. They've got to be a lot better than that. And with Brash and then Speier back, they're going to start turning those numbers around.
Okay, Bill. The term piggyback is causing some drama in Seattle. On Tuesday, Bryce Miller looked great. Luis Castillo was solid for 2 innings, but he struggled in the 9th. So what are your thoughts on this entire situation and the term piggyback?
Well, I don't know about the term, but I'm not a big fan. I think it's only serves its purpose when maybe somebody's coming back from injury and they think he's going to be the regular guy in that spot, and the other guy that's been taking his spot ends up backing him up. These are 2 guys that belong in the rotation, Castillo and Miller. Now, Castillo hasn't had a great season, but he's been a bona fide top-end starter for this team for a long time, and his stuff is still there. And Miller has been overwhelming in his first 2 times out. I don't like it. I think when you try to overscript a game, this is what happens. Miller didn't want to come out. He was dealing. He ends up coming out of the game kind of because they wanted the matchup with Ferrer versus Murakami, but really they were thinking ahead about making sure Castillo had a fresh inning to start. When you overscript games, bad things happen because it's a human element. You have to let the game play out in live action. And you have to remind yourself, who is the 9th inning for this team? The 9th inning is Andres Munoz. That's who the 9th inning is. If it's even or ahead, Munoz starts the 9th. We also know Munoz is much better when he starts the inning fresh. That was one reason why we didn't see him in the middle of the 7th inning last year in the big playoff game, because they wanted to give him a fresh inning. He has a little trouble with base runners. They've steered away from that, and this ended up catching him. And, of course, you could talk about the offense and the fact that they only had 1 hit, and they've got to do more than that, that's for sure, because that's a lot of pressure being put on the pitching staff. But it didn't go the Mariners' way. It was an unfortunate situation, a lot of it caused by trying to do something that I think was a little too overscripted, in my opinion. you have to be able to make hard choices.
I
And
think
you have to decide whether Castillo or Miller belongs in the bullpen and who belongs in the starting rotation. That's a decision you have to make. And a lot of that you have to think about because Castillo's value, if you're thinking about him on the market, is as a starting pitcher. So a lot to consider.
Well, with that in mind, Bill, I know you and we've talked on this show, and I think when Bryce Miller was rehabbing, I'm not thinking, you said Bryce Miller would be great for this team, helping out in the bullpen. Now you have Matt Brash back. You have Gabe Spire returning. What we saw from Bryce Miller the other night, that was the stuff of a starting pitcher. So I guess as we move forward, your thoughts on this? Back to a six-man rotation. Castillo's keep him in the bullpen, have him pitch the 5th, 6th, 7th inning only. Where do you see this going?
I think it's pretty clear that Bryce Miller is their future, and he's pitched brilliantly in his 2 starts. Of course, he's fresh as a daisy. I don't know that he's going to keep that high velo as he starts pitching on a more regular turn, not getting all this extra rest. It's no good to have this much rest for your other elite starters. It's a difficult situation. I think they're kind of forced to let Miller pitch. And Castillo has to fall into a long man's role and see how it plays out. I felt like with Castillo's value in the market that he could be the 5 starter and give you 5 starter type performance and then move this elite arm in Bryce Miller into the bullpen where an extra weapon out there, even if Brash is back, would make this bullpen dynamite. He could help this team, I think, a lot more there, in my opinion. Doesn't mean he can't start. And you could always move him back to the rotation if Luis Castillo really falters and falls hard and just can't get it done anymore. It doesn't look that way to me, but it's clear the club is sticking, that's going to start with Miller. To me, you might as well just get over the piggyback thing, and then Castillo just has to be a long man.
I like it.
Randy Arozarena just continues to see the ball each and every night. First of all, what kind of impact is he having? And second, is there something he's doing differently at the plate this season?
Well, Randy's been big. What a season. He's hitting over 300. He's on base almost 400 and slugging somewhere north of 450, leading this team in extra base hits. He's spraying the baseball around. He's staying on the ball and not trying to pull and hit homers. I thought when he got into the 20s last year, he wanted to have a big number to match his stolen base number, 25-25, and he had that in his head going into this arbitration season. And now he's been more willing to stay up the middle of the field and take his hits. And when he does get a pitch that hangs, like the Hicks hanging slider, or the pitch that he hit yesterday for the homer, he took advantage of it. So he's really doing a nice job of staying up the middle of the field and letting his elite tools work for him. He's an interesting hitter. He stands dead on top of the plate and dares people to hit him. And he's got that elbow guard, and he takes a lot of blows on that thing. I have to give him credit for that, and that helps his on-base percentage. He can run. He can hit the ball in the alley. He's been a dynamite player for this team. And with Raleigh's struggles and really the middle of the lineup not being what we thought it would be at this point in the season, doesn't mean it won't be. He's been critical, and he's been their best player.
Real quick, Bill, the team is still struggling against left-handed pitchers. Now, if you make the playoffs, you're going to face the best left-handed pitchers in the MLB. How do they get better?
We're going to have to do something outside the team, in my opinion. This roster is rather dysfunctional. It's all left-handed. Because when Donovan comes back, you're adding another left-hander. You bring up Colt Emerson, he hits left-handed. I mean, the majority of the team hits left-handed. But Polanco really helped them last year. He hit 28 bombs, and he was a force on the right-hand side of the plate. You also had Williamson at third. He hit right-handed. They had, of course, Suarez as a right-hand hitter. They're short from the right side. The roster just doesn't fit quite right. When you're depending on guys that are really 4A players like Patrick Wisdom and Connor Joe, and Ref Schneider hasn't done it this year. His bats have been better of late, but they're paying him. And, of course, Robles coming back could really help them on that side and give them a little bit more tilt. But I think they need to find a bat that's a bona fide right-hand bat. I think they're going to be looking hard on the market for that. And who knows how a trade like that might take place. I'm not going to try to guess whether Castillo and his big salary could be moved and you could get a right-hand bat in return or something along those lines. But they're going to have to go get a right-hand bat. That's almost for sure.
All right, Bill, I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm using this show as therapy for myself, and I appreciate you jumping on and helping me out along with the two here. Brian Wu, on fire. Not worried there. Emerson Hancock, very solid. Not worried there. Bryce Miller pitched great the other night. Short, window right now. George Kirby, 5 wins, 3.45 ERA. I'm okay with Kirby. Bill, one of my favorites, Logan Gilbert, 2-4, 4.45 ERA. Last 4 starts, Logan has given up 8 home runs. Bill, should I be concerned at all with Logan Gilbert?
I don't think so. I think this guy is an elite talent. In my opinion, he needs to throw his fastball more, and he really counts on being able to land his off-speed pitches, and then he just wants to let the fastball rip. But he doesn't quite have the same giddy up on the fastball that he had a couple years ago. I think he needs to be able to use his fastball more than 25%. He's got to throw it more. He's got to be able to hit a spot with it. He's got to work on that a little bit more, and be a little bit more. Too many pitches, too many different types of breaking pitches. I think he needs to simplify it a little bit. He's got a curveball, a slider, and a cutter, and a split, and a changeup, and a fastball, and it's just a lot of pitches with a guy that has an elite arm. So I think he need to see him throw his fastball more. He's got to be able to throw his fastball to the sides of the plate. That's something that he doesn't do very well. He has a tendency to let it rip, and if he misses, that's when those balls leave the ballpark. And he's got to get better. They all the staff, because they're going to see a bevy of left-hand hitters. With the rover not in right center anymore, teams are stacking lineups with left-hand hitters. So all the staff has to get better against lefties. And part of that, I think, in my opinion, is being able to stick your fastball in the inside corner. Not the cute way with the 2-seam swing back pitch, which is a high-risk pitch, but be able to stick it in the corner or stick it, make it move off the plate so you can make your other pitches work. The game is an up-down game, and there's a lot of strikeouts to be had at the top of the zone or making somebody hit a breaking pitch at the bottom. But in and out, that's the era I played in. It's still important. It's still important to make those guys move their feet a little bit.